Over the years, sports has been a strong rallying point that cuts across age, ethnic affiliation, and religion in Nigeria. Worldwide, fanatical devotion and virulent followership has turned the industry into a money-spinning venture. In Nigeria, despite heavy investments and annual budget allocated to sports development, the sector has failed to yield the expected turnover. Neglect, bad management, and failure to channel resources in the right way have been fingered as culprits. In a move to make things right, President Bola Tinubu has recently named an astute sports administrator, Alhaji Shehu Dikko, as the chairman, National Sports Commission. Dikko paid a recent visit to the president in what appeared to be his first debriefing call. With the coming on board of Dikko, what difference do we expect to see in the sports sector? Alhaji Shehu Dikko, Chairman, National Sports Commission, joins us on Arise Prime Time. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much. My pleasure to be here.
Great. Let's start with your recent visit to the president. I think you must have teased out from him the wisdom behind changing the name from Sports Ministry to the National Sports Commission. We don't want to go into the politics of the act, the law, and all of that. What is important to Nigerians now is for you to tell us what is going to be different. How does a name change help to clean out the mess that we currently have in that sector?
Well, it is not a name change. It is a structural change, completely, you know, and from Sports Ministry to National Sports Commission. National Sports Commission now have an act. That act governs the commission and how it's going to operate. And the wisdom behind that, remember, the Sports Commission didn't start today. I think the first one was 1971 or thereabout. And that was when our glory is in football, in sports, in other sports. Anywhere you see we have done well, see that is a commission that is there. What is the wisdom behind it? First and foremost, the commission is meant to be run by professionals, by experts who are part of the business, who are already in the system, who understood and understand clearly how things are going to work. When you have a ministry, the ministry operates within the context of the federal structure, a federal ministry. So which means any director, any staff can be posted from any ministry to the sports ministry, like vice versa. Anybody can wake up and be the minister of sports, whether we have no sports or not. Anybody can be the PAMSEC in sports, because the PAMSEC are being rotated across the ministries. So you find that people that are no business with sports, doesn't know what it is, because sports is very professional, it's very deliberate. They are running it, doesn't work that way. But now with the commission, it's meant for professionals. So the chairman now, for example, who replaces the Minister of Sport has to be somebody who at least in the system, who has been around, who knows what it is. The Director General and the Secretary of the Commission, who's also now replaces the PAMSEC, has to be also a professional to do that. So that is the first fundamental change.
Right.
So and then the Commission is supposed to operate like a quasi-private sector, like a proper public sector, not civil service structure. So it's mainly driven by the best practices, the best way things are done. That is how it's supposed to be. And then fundamentally, the entire bureaucracy, because sports doesn't work with bureaucracy, has been cut off. So the commission now reports directly to the table of the president, so that the president can look at what is going on, and when he's satisfied, he takes the decision. So it's very fast and very snappy and very straightforward. So brilliant for sports. That's how sports should be run all over the world.
Fantastic background that you have laid out there.
Yeah.
So I would follow up by asking, tell us briefly what exactly did the president tell you when you went to visit him last week?
Well, you see, we are working for the president. The president already has set up his vision, has set up his objectives. Right from the manifesto to when he's the president, he knows clearly what he wants to do with sports. He has been a governor before, and he's among the few governors that really put the foundation proper sports like in Lagos, driven by private sector actually in Lagos. So the fundamental, the first briefings that we had and directives that we have is we have to go and create a sports economy. Because we have not been doing that before, and we have to also change the structure of how we run our sports. We are so competition-based in what we are doing before. The whole sport is just run about the fact that let's just go to participate at the Olympics, at the World Cup, and do all those stuff like that, and waste money and come back. There's nobody doing anything deliberate in the domestic system to get the sports developed, to get the economy around it, to get people employed around it. That's how it should be done. So we have to change that from being competition-driven to development-driven.
Okay, so let me take you up on creating a sports economy, because you're very right. All over the world, sports is a gold mining sector. You know, a lot of investment in it. So how have you planned, or what is the roadmap that you have specifically now to create that economy that you have been mandated to do?
Well, with that mandate to do things, so we said we are starting on our own vision, our own roadmap is standing on 3 pillars. We call it the 3 R's. That is reset, refocus, and relaunch. What do you mean by reset? Because resetting will mean we have to reset our thinking. Everybody in Nigeria is more focused on the competitions. So we have to change the system from competition-driven to development-driven. Being competition, we see it as consumption, because you only pack your scarce dollars and go abroad and spend in another man's country and come back. If you like, you can win something, but most times you don't win, you come back. But if you are doing the development, the domestic development, it means you are doing production, because you are putting the money into the system, build the infrastructure, build the local competitions around the country, which create massive amount of jobs if you do it rightly. England, for example, have not won any major competition in football since 1966 at the top level, but they have the best domestic football industry in the world.
So do you have a figure for us, how much you want to make in a year, for instance, in sports? Do you have that plan?
It's not about making money. As I'm saying, now the refocus, the second leg of it, is to be deliberate about it, just what you are saying. Okay, what do you really want to achieve with that? What are things that we need to do to get things done? Then the relaunching, as you said in the opening remarks, is to relaunch the sports, making more positive views of people. The narrative should be positive, and so people should align to all that. But at the end of the day, when we do that, there are 3 things also we have to do that we are now doing now. For example, we have to have the institutional restructuring and this of the commission to bring all the professionals we need to get things done. We have to bring the private sector to complement whatever the government is doing. We have to also restructure the sports federations, because we have like 38 sports federations or thereabout who are running all different sports. Those are like the operating arms of the sports development in the country. So we have to get them to do what they have to do.
Right.
And then at the end of the day, we have to do grassroots development as well. So we do that. At the end of the day, as you said, what's the final outcome? We have a vision. The vision is at least we should be 3% of our GDP in sports.
Okay, yes.
We should also be at least having like 3 million people being employed through the sports industry and the value chain, both direct, indirect, and induced employment. You know, we have to be dominating the world market in talent export, which means we will earn foreign exchange back to the country and invest into the system. And we have to also work on our infrastructures, make sure we have the infrastructure needed.
It all sounds shiny on paper, you know, and I'm sure for Nigeria, you know, public institutions, most times we're not short of the ideas. It's the implementation that is the big thing. So let me take you a little bit back to last year, because it's part of what we're going to be discussing, or part of what you are going to be doing. The Olympics in Paris, you know, in 2024 was a catastrophe for many Nigerians. The treatment of a lot of the players, they couldn't believe that their country could treat them that way. For instance, Favor Ofili, and the rest of them, a lot of people were disappointed. Have you done a post-mortem regarding that poor outing? And if you have, what did you find, and what are you doing already to remedy that?
Well, we have been in the system for long. That's why this is supposed to be run by the professionals. So we don't have to do any like a post-mortem per se, because we have an understanding clearly what the issues are and why we get it wrong. And we are trying to roll back and make sure we put the right structures.
What went wrong?
What is needed. Well, because everybody was focused on the competition. So there was no any preparations until the last day. Even the funding for the competition was released like about 3 weeks, a month to the competition. You can't, for example now, England have just set up a process from now till 2028. Every year they have a big budget for all the sports to prepare and everything like that. So you cannot wait until 2028 and you go and meet Mr. President and collect 40, 60 billion that you want to go and participate at the Olympics, and you want to compete with those people. So we have to come back and do the right things. That is the reason why, if you look at the federal government budget of of this year, 2025 fiscal year. There is a deliberate budget line that has been now created in the budget. It has never been there before. Only an Aswaji government could do that. Now we have a budget line for Olympic preparations. So funding will be made available every year until the next Olympics, so that we can prepare the athletes, we can do what they have to do, all their training, all their requirements is sorted as the Olympics.
Right.
So from now till that time, we know clearly where the medals might come and where might not come, because we have invested in them, we have trained them, we have supported them and stuff like that. Likewise, the Commonwealth Games.
Yes.
And we also have the grassroots and talent identification budget line as well, because we need to be identifying more talents that will replace the other ones. So if you don't prepare like that, you wait until the last day, you collect a huge amount of resources, and everybody was just coming, like, I consider them, they're just going on tourism. Because basically people just went to Paris and burnt our dollars and just come back like that, you know. So
I have to ask, have officials been penalized for wrongdoing during that period? You know, because there has to be a connect between action and consequence. If not, nothing ever gets done right.
Now I tell you back to why we have the commission, because before, when you have a sport ministry, everybody in the sport ministry is a staff of the federal government. There's a process of punishing a staff or sacking a staff at the federal government level. You have to go to the head of service, you have to suspend. Even the minister cannot suspend anybody in the office if you have a federal civil service. But now, as we have a commission, which now we are allowed now to bring in our own staff, bring in our own quality. So everybody will bring in on the table for what you can deliver. If you fail to deliver what you are asked to do, you are fired. So we can have, the commissioner will have the power now to fire everybody and hire everybody. That is so everybody will be working on deliverables. So if you are not meeting your KPIs, you are not part of us. But before, you can only maybe suspend somebody for a while. You can't tamper with their career in the civil service. Has to go to civil service commission and all this process. This is part of the benefit of having the sport commission. But nonetheless, we still have a report of what happened, and we are looking at it. And definitely those that have been found not to do what they have to do, they can't continue with us. We cannot sack them, but they can't continue with us. They have to maybe probably go to another ministry and continue their career.
But you know, the torchlight will also be on you, talking about, you know, bringing in professionals. Yeah. People have to be brought in on merit.
Yeah, of course, definitely.
And that you're assuring that is going to be the case.
Absolutely, because you know, our mandate is to deliver. We can't bring anybody that cannot add value to what we are doing. Because at the end of the day, if they fail, we failed. So our destiny are tied together. If you have a minister, for example, you can come and do whatever you want to do, and even not perform. The next day, you can, if the president, you can move it to another ministry. Say, okay, you're not good at this, you can go to another ministry, or you can go to another agency, or what have you. But as a commission, our destiny is tied to the deliverables and the results that we deliver at the end of the day. So we are not, we only look for the people that can give us the results. So
you were in charge of the defunct league management company.
Yes, yeah.
That company had so many issues in promoting the Nigerian Professional League, with failed TV coverage, backlog of payments to referees and match commissioners, among others. It was also a little bit difficult attracting investors. Some that came in pulled out quietly later. Now you are in charge of the National Sports Commission. How do you intend to make it work with getting investors, making sure it does not go down like that league?
Well, the league didn't go down. You know, people didn't know what happened. That's another discussion for another day.
You can tell us briefly.
No, because we sent it all there. All that what you said is just misguided thinking. Because
but people are still being owed, right?
No. Let me come back to you. You know, the league is run as a private venture. It doesn't collect money from government. You generate the money. Nobody have generated the kind of money we put into the league. We came into the league, myself and my colleagues, like in 2013. The TV rights of the league was just 150 million naira. We moved it to almost $8 million, $10 million. Everything was going fine. The TV was there, everybody was being paid the right amount of money. We are paying the referees, yes, from 2013 to that. It's only at the end, because if the sponsors pull out and there's no support, because the sponsors pull out, not because it's anything, because the economy has impacted them. It's only the biggest sponsor of any league, for example, is TV. The TV money is not there. And at the end of the day, the contract we had with the sponsor was in dollars. And when we signed that contract with them was 150 naira to $1. By the time the dollar was in 2016 was 400 and stuff like that, they can't cope. They offer to convert it to naira, and they are offering to pay less than even the government rate. Couldn't work, so the contract had to be quietly arrested. So when you lose that revenue of over $8 million from a sponsor into the league, what does happen? You have to now work to rebuild it. So we brought so many people to rebuild that system. But at the end of the day, there are toxic elements who are busy suing our sponsors. We bring sponsors from London, they sue them, this one sue them because they don't want the league to grow, because we have brought the change that is not required. So all that experience now is what we have developed, and what now will be used to make sure that we don't go into that kind of pitfalls.
So 3 years on, there are still some that are yet to be paid. So do you have any word about that?
Remember, there's anybody running the league, so I need to check on that, see whatever it is. But even if that's the case, is if, for example, you run, for example, when I was in charge, we run almost 370 something match days, and you are paid almost 350 something match days. Only about 30 match days have never come to be paid. You can't say something was wrong. There's absolutely something that happened that will get that to done. If the sponsors pull out, for example, in UK, go and Google it up. When the COVID came, and the clubs were losing revenues, government stepping. In France, government putting about 200 million to support the clubs. In UK, the Bank of England put about £2 billion pounds. For Arsenal alone, took like 150 million, because otherwise the clubs too in Europe will collapse. Because once the games are not being played, once the sponsors are not coming to pay, the league will collapse. That's where government intervened. If I was in charge of the sport at that time and the country, exactly that's what I would do. I would have asked government to intervene and make sure everything keeps going, whether a long-term loan, whether grants or what have you. Everybody, anywhere in the world, people intervene during that, because the system, they're not looking at it as a profit venture. They look at how many people are being employed within that system to get that done. So we miss that chance to do that. So
78 billion has been budgeted for sports this year. What does that do for you, especially in light of the inflation that we have in the country?
Well, you see, I must thank the president for doing this. You know, that budget is, actually it's not even 78 billion that has been budgeted for sports. It's 78 billion that was budgeted for critical capital projects that were visible. That are meant to jumpstart the sports economy we are looking at. There are other budget lines that we look at. If you look at it, the budget is tops over 100 billion for sports, for example, to start with. That is unprecedented. It has never happened in sport. In the 60 years government is putting money in sport, never any government have been deliberate about this. Only President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, who is very daring, who is very bold. If he believes in something, he does it. People might not like it today, but he knows at the end of the day, history will be very, very kind to him with the decisions of today. So government have taken the first step to put their skin in the game, to say, look, we are doing this. And those capital projects are clearly stated in the budget what are there for. So people can monitor them, can make sure they see that they are delivered. They are not monies to go and spend in the competitions. For example, Abuja Stadium has not been repaired since 2002 when it was done. Now there is funding there to make it back to life. Because Nigeria now, we have only one stadium working that can host international matches, the Uyo Stadium. If for whatever reason Uyo Stadium doesn't work, Nigeria have to go and play.
We can't host anything.
Have to go and play in Cote d'Ivoire, Super Eagles, or Ghana, or Niger, or somewhere. That would be the biggest request for the country. President said, no, fix Abuja Stadium, but we are fixing it not just to take it up and start running it. No, if you fixed it, at the end of the day, we might have to bring investors and private sector to take it up and run it as a proper business, get a sports city there. You know, we have, for example, part of the projects that we are doing, there's a hotel, a hostel building, a hotel being built at the stadium, has been abandoned for 15 years. That hotel is 200 rooms hotel. It has been finished. The athletes doesn't have to suffer. Yeah, inside the stadium. It has been abandoned. It has been gone to roof level, abandoned for over 15 years. Now the president said, finish that, so our athletes will have where to go and stay and train, and then we will commercialize it. We'll give it a hotel chain to run. So revenues will come in. We have like the doping lab. In the whole of Africa, there's only one lab working in Africa, doping lab working. So look, let's build one in Nigeria. Because if you build it and we make it open to the whole African countries, they come here and do their doping, they pay. Each test costs about $200. And each country is supposed to do at least minimum 1,500 tests a year. Now they have to go to Qatar, they have to go to Europe, but if now we have it in Nigeria, we do that. Imagine the kind of inflow we have in dollars. But those are the critical projects we are putting in place, getting our infrastructure working, getting the stadium working, and then also having some critical programs like the Olympic preparation, Commonwealth preparation, elite development, and talent in the identification and stuff like that.
Let's talk about the Super Eagles. There's no coach for them at a critical time. They are heading for the World Cup qualifiers, although this doesn't fall under your purview. It's under the National Football Federation, but it has to be of concern to you.
Well, they still report to us,
yeah.
So we are still supervising to that. But I know the NFF are doing whatever they have to do to sort that within this month. Everything will be sorted. Even yesterday we were having a meeting. They are trying to, the technical committee of the federation were having a meeting, trying to make selection. Identify the next step and the roadmap. They need to go with the coaching situation and everything for both the Super Eagles.
Why do we leave it so last minute?
Yeah, because you see, everything is a function of money.
Yes.
Remember, to get a top coach now in the world, if you want to bring a top coach, will not collect less than $150,000 a month. Do you have that kind of resources? Even if you have that resources,
but we can generate
even if you have that kind of
money.
resources,
yes.
Is that if you look at cost-benefit analysis, is it to pay a coach $150,000 or to use that money to bring in more talents? Yes. That could be like Osimhen and other people. So you have to also identify to see where clearly you need to do that. So we have to find and quote according to our size, bring the coaches that we need and do the process that they need. So basically the next match, the next competition match, the qualifier for the World Cup is in March. So I'm sure if they sort it out today, and there is no room for any friendly matches, so you can't say you have to bring the coach to go and prepare the boys because we are coming straight to the matches. No any window for any friendly match. So they will do that, and I'm sure within a couple of week or two, the coaches, the setup of the national team will be unveiled, and you can see also the federal government have now we are working to set up a support team to see what we can do to support the team to qualify to the World Cup.
Right.
Mr. President is very keen to do that. Even in the budget, there's a provision for the special support group for the World Cup before the private sector support.
One of the biggest problems in this sector is fraud and mismanagement. How are you going to deal with that?
That's actually not correct. Because it's
so
perception.
Correct. So what is the biggest problem for you?
It's perception. Let me
It's perception?
Yeah, perception.
Okay.
Mostly it's perception. Because why is the resources the sport?
No, the little resources that you have are not appropriate.
I've been through the same thing. So I have the most experience about that because I have been we brought the biggest money. I brought the biggest money into the sport. As far back as 2006, I brought the biggest sponsor into Nigerian sports. That at that time was the biggest in Africa, 2006. I did that. At the end of the day, people, is some few stakeholders. We're not saying everything is perfect. Some few stakeholders that, if you feel aggrieved, because sport is very sensitive. If you feel aggrieved, maybe you do an election, you lose, maybe you're competing with me. The next thing is to accuse me of fraud. Because if you accuse me of fraud in football, normally in FIFA, for example, FIFA would say, we don't want to work with you because you are being accused. Everybody wants to be clean, blah blah. So all this, they keep bandishing a lot of baseless accusation and everything that keep even making the investigative agencies very, 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 very bad. For example, you can go and bring a sponsor.
Right.
You can go and bring a sponsor into the team. Sponsor put his money. Sponsor did not complain to anybody that his money is missing or whatever happened. But somebody who doesn't even have seen the contract will wake up and come and be making all kind of wild allegations, including even modeling the sponsors. And they'll go and make a petition to the agencies, and the agency will start inviting the sponsor. How can I sponsor somebody? I put money, my own personal money, and then the next time I'm being invited to go to the investigative agency as an accused, I have to collect bail. That has been the bane of the system. We are not saying things are not wrong. If they are not wrong, if the sponsor, for example, if any sponsor wake up today and said, my money is missing, then there's a problem.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time. We'd like to have another discussion with you in future, but Alhaji Shehu Dikko.
I'll be glad to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us on Arise Prime Time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's my sister to do that.